All right. Hello, beautiful people. It's Deanna, your face stylist. I ain't pregnant no more. I am back in effect. I have gotten used to other people keeping my baby because I didn't want nobody to keep him at first, but everything's okay. Every time I come home, he's in one piece. So I decided to do a little video today. And today's video is about a question. It's for shop owners and stylists to think about, right? Beauty professionals in general, like I always say. The question is, should shop owners fraternize with their independent contractors, their booth renters, or their employees? Think about it. For those of you that don't know what the word fraternize means, it means to hang out with, associate with your peers outside of the working place. Okay, that's where that term is most used. So some people will say that it's okay as long as everybody knows their place and there is still a respectful boundary. And some people will say, no, just don't do it because it just gives too much familiarity. So I'm going to just tell from my experience what happened to me, what I used to do, and what I do still to this day. So I'm a very friendly, social person. I own a hair salon. I sing on a choir. I know a lot of people. So oftentimes I end up knowing the same people that some of my stylists know in the community. So when I go hang out places, sometimes we just happen to run into each other there. If I see them there, I'm not just going to be like, oh my God, I got to leave because you're here. We shouldn't be here. You're going to lose respect for me. Oh my God, we're getting too familiar, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to do all of that, right? But I have a friend who is a counselor, psychiatrist, and it is in her job description to where if she goes somewhere and she sees a client of hers that she is their actual doctor, she has to leave immediately because it's in the best interest of her. You know, like she can't see them doing things that go against their treatment and blah, 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 and stuff like that, right? I don't think doing hair is that serious. Well, I mean, if I see my clients, I'm going to keep it. But, so, back to the hairstylist. So, another thing, we end up knowing a lot of the same people, so sometimes it just happens. So, this is what has happened. For salon owners, I think that it is very, very important for you to be very cautious about hanging out with your stylist after hours. Only because it's really important for you to still keep that same level of respect inside of your business establishment, excuse me, and outside of your business establishment. There is something about the immature person, the immature mind, that does not allow certain people to respect you as a friend and respect you as a boss. And that's just how it goes. So as a business owner, you almost have to read people's body language and say, okay, this person is somebody that I may be able to hang out with, and that person may not be somebody that I can hang out with. For example, if you have ever had to reprimand a hairstylist or critique them in any way, shape, or fashion, and you notice immediately how their panties may have gotten all wound up in a bunch, they couldn't take the criticism well, they were very hurt by what you said to them, even though it may have been something that had to do nothing with how you felt about them as a person, but you had to address a certain behavior, or you had to say, hey, you know, this hair silkening is not what we represent at Melvira's Hair Studio, and I know y'all are independent contractors, but you still got to be putting out some nice work because what you do represents me and my building. Sometimes that can be a difficult conversation to have, and if you find yourself having conversations like that with the people that work within your establishment under you, under your guidance, or they're your independent contractor, you're the leader in some way, shape, form, or fashion. If you find those people getting a hair up their butt because you have had to handle business and call them on something, that's a good sign that you guys should not hang out outside of business hours, because that person can't even handle just handling business and taking critique as a professional. Another thing, if you're the boss and somebody comes up to me, I'll use myself as an example. Hey, Ms. D, you know what? I really don't appreciate the way you said this to my client, or I felt like when you were advertising your services, you was trying to pull my client out of your chair. Ms. D, I really don't appreciate how you called me out about my Daisy Dukes at work, where you said it, but you didn't, anything. If ever a stylist comes up to me, any of my beauty professionals, and they have an issue with how I've said something to them, if I'm the type of boss that is going to be like, oh no, and my ego is just so big, I'm so high and mighty that I can't take criticism from other people. If you are that type of boss, that's a big sign that you should not be mixing and mingling with your peers after hours, because you can't take criticism. And when people can't take criticism, they can't, whether it's constructive criticism or it's just straightforward telling somebody what they need to know, or, hey, maybe you should try it this way. If either sides of the parties, the boss or the person that works for the boss, gets their butt hurt about something so simple, or something where it's like you just got to handle business, that is a great sign that you should not be hanging out outside of work, because that means that those people have personalities that do not understand or are fearful of blurring the lines between us just being friends outside of work and us handling business on the inside of work. So for me, there was a time I sing around town sometimes, which I've taken a break from because, we were pregnant and we had to have a baby. So I sing around town, and there was times when I invited a particular stylist to come out and hang out with me when I went out. And, like all adults do, when you go out and you go to the bar and you're singing, you're having a good time. Like, I really like to have a good time when I go out. Like, I ain't stripping and, twerking all over the place and dropping it low and all of that. Because first of all, my body don't do that no more. And I don't even do it that good. But when I go out, I have a good time. You know what I mean? I'm more relaxed. My hair is let down. And unfortunately, but fortunately for me, I'm a young boss. So oftentimes the people that end up working within my establishment are either my age or somewhere close within my age. I don't think I've ever hired anybody that was 10 years younger than me or 10 years older than me. Like, we've always been within at least 5 to, 8 years of age. And so we hang out at the same spots. We like to do the same things. We know some of the same people sometimes. Well, in this particular case, I didn't know this young lady, and I invited her to come out and sing with me, and it was great. We had a good time. We had some drinks together. But after we began to hang out on a regular basis outside of work, which I already knew that young lady was one of the types of people, like I was telling you, that was not comfortable with taking criticism. Like, we had incidents about that. And then on top of that, I invited her to come and hang out at my gig. After that night, we had problems. There was just, I'd like to say a sense of jealousy, but I don't know because I never asked. We just ended up stopping working together all together. And it's crazy because had we not began working together and we met on the streets as friends first, I think we probably would have been really, really good friends. But because it happened the other way around, then things just kind of fell apart. And I found myself in situations where, as a leader, because the way that we interacted and had fun and kicked it after work, it was harder for for me to reprimand her with certain things. And as, you know, my follower, whether we independent contractors or not, you know, if you're in somebody else's establishment, you're under their leadership. That's just what it is. And that could be a good thing and that could be a bad thing. So my advice for salon owners is, if you think that you can handle hanging out with your stylist and you think that they have the personality to where they can be able to handle it, to where if you guys go out and y'all party and have a good time outside of work and they get to learn a little bit more about you outside of your business persona, if you feel like those people are mature enough and they say, hey, you know what, this is Miss D over here, and over here she's a singer and she's cool, she likes to have a couple drinks and kick back, and she's not as strict over here, and you know, I can say things to her in this environment that I can't say to her in this environment, then yeah, if you have those type of people that are mature enough to handle those type of situations, as business owners, or just beauty professionals in general, I think we have to pick and choose who our friends are, especially when it comes to mixing and mingling business. And even when it comes to clients, you have to be careful with what clients you hang out with, because sometimes, because you become a little bit more familiar with a client outside of the salon, sometimes they start looking for a hookup. Sometimes they want a discount. You know, and sometimes it just gets messy. I haven't had too many messy situations with clients. It's always been with hairstylists, and it only took me that one hairstylist to learn, like, okay, everybody's not your friend. Some people are just going to be your business associates. So the question at the beginning of this video was, should salon owners fraternize with their employees? It depends. It's complicated. Maybe you should and maybe you shouldn't. One thing that I have learned is that if you just keep it strict and straightforward at work, and that's what it is, no matter what you do outside of the building, then people will always expect that of you. So I think another thing that we could do as business owners is just to be consistent. Like if I say you need to be on time, that means when we hang out and we go kick it at Disney World, when we come back to work, you still need to be on time. It don't matter if we got back from Disney World at 5 o'clock in the morning. If I'm on time, you need to be on time, for example. So yeah, it could go either way. But if you're not, if there's some mixed feelings about being able to share and exchange communication based on the relationship, if you guys can't handle business and have a personal relationship at the same time, don't do it. And as a leader, salon owners, even if you do have a personal relationship with any of your beauty professionals, you still keep it strictly business when you're at work, and you be cautious about what you share outside of the building and what you reveal outside of the building, because at the end of the day, you still want to have good relations with the people that work for you, and you don't need them knowing all of your dirty laundry, if you have dirty laundry, so to speak. So the answer to the question is complicated, and in most professional settings, they just say no altogether. Like there's no dating within your work community, none of that, because when things go sour, most people, I'd say 90% of people are going to handle a situation where their feelings are involved and they got their feelings hurt. They're going to handle it in an immature fashion. People start getting hurtful, and you just don't want to do that at work. You know, there's a saying, you don't eat where y'all figure it out. You don't fit the rest. So keep my mouth clean on this video. But you don't eat where you use the restroom, because it's unsanitary. It's just messy. So be mindful, be respectful at all times. And when you do hang out with your coworkers, keep in mind they are still your coworkers, and you still got to go back to work with them. So that is my spiel today. Your face stylist. I'm back at my videos, and I'll see you guys on the next video.